Well, now to the man who says a former priest, John Feit, confessed to him about allegedly killing Irene Garza. He testified today.
The now retired priest says he was assigned to evaluate if Feit would be fit to be made a monk when he made the confession. Our Carrie Zayas at the courthouse with more testimony from day 3. Carrie.
Well, Dina and Oscar, let me tell you, first on the stand today was George Sadler. He's a retired San Antonio police officer. He worked the cold case division for many, many years. And today he told the jury about a phone call that he got from Dale Tashney. Take a listen.
So Tashney had called me up and told me he was aware of a homicide that had taken place in San Antonio in the early 60s, I guess I would say. And I spoke to him and tried to get enough information for him to see if I could locate the homicide within our archives.
Well, Sadler didn't have any cold cases in San Antonio that matched that information, but the Texas Rangers did. They had a very similar case in McAllen. Dale Tashney, as you know, is a retired priest. He was a monk in Ava, Missouri, and he was assigned to determine, as Dina mentioned, whether or not John Feit was also fit to become a monk. Feit was sent to that monastery in Missouri in 1963 by the Catholic Church. Now, during several conversations, Tashney says John Feit gave him details about killing a girl while he was here. He said that Father Feit said the girl went to confession. He said he fondled her, took her down to a basement. He also said at one point that he put that girl in a bathtub, and she said as he was walking out of the room, "I can't breathe, I can't breathe." Still, he left her there in the tub. It wasn't until after Tashney left the priesthood and he was approached about writing a story about his life that he decided to come forward with what Father Feit had told him during that time in the monastery. He said he knew that it was time that authorities knew the truth.
It was not my place to make a judgment. My place was to discern and not to judge. My place was to figure out with him, along with him, what he would do in the future.
One of the hostages.
Feit's defense attorney asked Tashney if it was actually, in fact, the prospect of writing a book that pushed him to come forward with this information, but Dale Tashney denied that. He said that his role as a priest, as you heard, was only to discern whether or not John Feit was fit to be a monk, not to judge him. So he also went on, speaking to the prosecutor again. He also pressed, why did it take you so long to come forward? If it wasn't because of book and because you had taken an oath as a priest and you were only there to discern whether or not he could be a monk. And he said in tears, through tears, he said, she had a father. She had a father. And then he asked, can we please move on to something else? All right, testimony is continuing tomorrow morning. It was a long day of testimony. First from Police Chief Victor Rodriguez. We have more on his testimony coming up for you tonight. And then, of course, from Dale Tashney himself. This is a huge part of testimony for this trial. This is what he says John Feit told him all those years ago at that monastery in Missouri about what happened the night that Irene Garza disappeared. For now, we're reporting live in Edinburgh. Carrie Zayas, Channel 5 News at 6.